right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you might be listening. I am Scott, and I'm sober. I'm the Sober Heathen. Another great podcast today. Very excited. This dude has really brought some positivity into the recovery field because I've been watching his TikToks, and he'll get on and he'll jam and do all kinds of really positive things that put a smile on your face. And I'll let you hear from him on where you can find him on TikTok and other social media. Today I have Raymond. Raymond, welcome to the Sober Heathen Podcast, my friend. Where are you from? What's your sobriety date? And tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do, man.
I'm Raymond. I'm an alcoholic from Ohio. Yeah. Ooh.
Some rival there for some people between Michigan and Ohio, but
Yeah, I don't get into that. My boss, Michigan fan, and everyone's like, dude. I was like, my sobriety date is 11/29/2021.
Awesome.
And yeah, and I like how you say good morning, good evening, and all that stuff. It sounds like you took my intro to my show.
Not intentionally. And I think that's the first time I said that, but maybe that's why I got that vibe from you.
I was like, I don't think I've ever heard you say that on your show. And I'm like,
I have not. It popped into my head last night, and I was like, it reminds me a lot of the Truman Show with Jim Carrey. And if I don't see you, oh no, that wasn't the Truman Show. Good morning, good evening, and good night, or whatever. And I was like, I shouldn't say it, and then it just kind of came out.
Is that where that's from? I just started doing it when I started doing this podcast, and I was just like, well, it's a podcast. Anyone could be listening to it in the morning, afternoon, or evening. So that's kind of why I went with it. So you never know when someone's going to listen to this or is a time of need.
Sure.
Or looking for recovery either. So
right on.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your story. You don't have to share too detailed, just whatever you're willing to talk about.
Yeah. Well, once upon a time in a land far, far away, there was this young lad born into a middle-class family. Nah. Yeah. I don't even know where to start. Because like the longer I do this recovery thing it's like I don't like doing like the drunk-a-log.
No, yeah, and I totally understand that. Yeah, just what maybe you can start here. What was the turning point?
Oh, the turning point. I was November 28th, 2021. I had pneumonia and I was already drinking. Had a coughing fit, passed out behind the wheel, smashed into a guardrail. And immediately started trying to cover it up. Right there and then I woke up. I wasn't all I was worrying about was trying to save my ass at the time.
Sure.
And I already called someone that had a tow truck driver come in, all this shit, and like my wife come. I called my wife to come get me, and brought both the kids with her, and she rolls up and she made me wait for the police to show up. And so anyways, we do that. I got my citation. I didn't get arrested or anything. Fortunately.
Sure.
But like I could see like the fire in her eyes, the anger Like, yeah, I done fucked up. And the plan was that day, you know, I was out going around meeting people were picking up some, like, it was like a Nintendo Switch, because at the time you couldn't find Nintendo Switches, and I want to get it for my kids and for Christmas. And like, we get back to the house, and I already like grabbed, I had like a 12 pack of Tall Boys left, like a partial pack left, and I was gonna go upstairs. The plan was go home, chill, work on music, drink beer, whatever. And like, we get back to the house, she started like dumping all the beer out and like throwing. I'm like, why can't I finish it? Why? And I go, why am I asking why? And I'm starting to realize, I'm like, yeah, this is the end of this. This is, you know, because it's not the first time something's come up with my alcohol consumption between me and her. And
Sure.
I was just like, shit. Like, all right, it's time to quit. Time to quit. This is more than just a problem. This isn't a drinking problem. This is um I'm a freaking alcoholic, man.
Yeah.
And you know, I questioned it plenty of times before then, but it was right there and then. I was like, yeah, I don't stop, she's gonna leave me. And I'm just like, you know, kids are involved. I mean, I adore my children. I never wanted kids. It was never part of my plans when I was younger. And I met my wife. And you know, it happened. It happened. And probably one of the best things that could ever happen to me. Uh, you know, the thought then was, you know, I'm going to lose my kids. I'm not, but it wasn't ever I was going to lose my kids and all that. But I quit right there and then, and I just didn't pick back up. I didn't pick back up right there. And so, but I was still isolating. I was using a lot of isolating at the time to cope, and I was working on a lot of music. I'd go to work, come home, work on music, go back to work, and I wasn't even paying any. I still wasn't paying attention to my family.
Sure.
I was still doing just shit for myself, and, you know, still having alcoholic behavior where it's all self-centered, self-focused. And anyways, we get to the point to where it's like, we get through Christmas. We had one spout. We had like the last time I think I called her a bitch or something. And I realized, wow, why? Or why are you being bitchy or something like that? And we get through Christmas. Then like, I think it was like 45 days after all this shit. And it's after Christmas. I come home. I'm like, I was working a lot of hours. I was just like, you know what? It'd probably be a good idea. I start finding some time to spend with the kids and with her and stuff like that. And I asked to get some time off. And, you know, I get home and I'm like, hey, I took time off to do this. And she's like, why? I'm like, huh? Wait, because I haven't been doing any of that. Like, it was clicking because this whole time it was just like I started having like all these thoughts and just this real. It was just a feeling of just like, you know, it's like a mixture and depression and feeling like a fucking scumbag.
Sure.
and like, what would happen if I wouldn't have gotten that wreck, or I would have made it home? Because the wreck was literally right around the corner from my house too. And that's the fucking ridiculous part about it. And so, anyways, I get home from work that night, and I tell her that, and she's like, "Well, whatever. I want a divorce," and I like fucking flip the fuck out. Flip the fuck out. She calls the fucking cops. All this, and I was just yelling. It was just like, and I was just so pissed. I was like, "Well, why?" She's like, "You really got to ask why," and I'm just like, "Well, I ain't been drinking. I ain't done nothing."
Right.
And I'm just like, "Well, this is fucking stupid." And like at that moment, it was just like, after she like left, she like left me in the house. The kids weren't home and all that. And I just got into this. It all sunk in, and I started falling apart. And I'm just like, uh, I've already made it this far not drinking. I started making phone calls till someone answered, like my mom and dad answered. I called, and it was like 10 o'clock at night. And I'm like crying. I'm like, 42-year-old man crying to his parents, and because I felt like my world was taken away from me. I mean, because that was my life. She, I was relying upon her because of my drinking. I let it become that, and I felt like my life was being taken away. If that makes sense.
Absolutely.
And and they're like, "Don't do nothing stupid." And I was just like, it's like kind of like I had thoughts of doing stupid shit, and they're like, "Don't drink either."
Right.
And I'm like, "Okay." I call my best friend, and he's like, "Well, you're kind of fucking lazy, dude. Why don't you start fucking helping her and doing shit? She just wants you to do shit for yourself." And this, that, and another. And I'm just like, okay. I like stayed up all night scrubbing the house and shit like that. But it was at that point, it was eye opening, and I started kind of having an understanding of, well, not really an understanding. This is kind of like just where it's like where like I quit drinking, but what's the issue now?
Right. Right.
And just because we quit drinking, people don't forget your actions. And when you put people through those actions for a long period of time, that's a lot of shit they pin up. A lot. And
Absolutely.
I was just trying to, at the time, I was just trying to manipulate her just to get her to quit saying that and give in and just give me what I want. And um, you know, just saying whatever I could. Don't divorce me and all this, and just all that shit in the middle. And
Yeah.
I I was going to work, and I was crying. I wa-
Sure.
I was an emotional fucking wreck at the time. And um I started like talking to a counselor, then, you know, and I was using that as like an advantage of trying to figure out how to manipulate shit. Listen to what they say, work it around. I'll get this back. This will pass. Everything will work out. And so, anyways, counselor was like, "Well, make a write a oh, what was it called? Kind of like I can't remember the name. It's like like a declaration of, uh, I will do this, and this is what I've not been doing, and like a vow, like write a vow. I vow to do this. I'm like, okay, cool. I'll do this, and this will get her back. This will make her happy. No, that didn't work. And I'm just like, hey, just look, can you just write down what you need me to change? I'll do anything to change, And I go to work. I'm like, cool. I'll get home. I'm gonna have this, and I'll read this, and everything's gonna be okay, and we can move past all this. And I'm just like, I get home, and it's just like, no matter what you say, no matter what, and I'm like reading this letter, and it's just like, basically, you're manipulative, and you're not drinking, but that doesn't mean I don't believe you won't ever drink again. You refuse to get help, and you're basically like any moment I'm bound to just fucking fuck up and said something. Why am I so resistant about going to AA? I don't I don't have to believe in God to go to AA, and because I'm just like, this is fucking stupid. What? This isn't what I told you to do. I didn't tell you to do this.
Right.
So I'm like mad and sad at the same time. And I'm just like, what's fucking AA got to do with this? Because I tried it in the past as I'm sitting here like, this is fucking bullshit. I was like, all they want me to do is talk about God and a higher power. And, I've been, I claim like Norse paganism, but because that's badass. I was like, okay, I'll be a fucking Viking.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, Viking was just a craft. To people. Because I've been agnostic for the longest time. I don't know what's out there or if there is something out there or not. I got to see it to believe it, or you can't prove to me there's a God, and you can't prove to me there's not a God. So it's but the other thing was God doesn't have to be a higher power, and I'm just like, well, you're my higher, just all this shit. And we're still living together. I wasn't leaving. I was still like, no, I'm not gonna fucking lose this fight. So that's the starting point. So guess what? Guess what I did?
What'd you did?
I went to a fucking AA meeting
Right on.
again. I started going. Um, I hit one in this area. It was all right. I don't like holding hands and saying prayers, but I went. Then I'm like, they're telling me it's just all the God talk, and I'm just like, this is stupid. I'm gonna do this to get this back. Then I started Googling stuff online about, godless AA or non-religious AA, and I start learning about secular AA and Zoom meetings, so I didn't have to like travel and try to balance at the time a 8 and 4-year-old around and all this stuff. So I started going to online meetings, and I found some good like beginner ones. Started making contacts from there, and then I was just like, this just isn't working. And someone told me about secular AA, and I'm just like, oh, secular AA, right on. What the hell secular mean? And so anyways, I start going to that, and this whole time I'm still a mess. emotional roller coaster. Probably just one fit of rage of not drinking again, from drinking again, probably just went,
Sure.
to hit the total fuck it button. And I finally started going to, it's called Oh My God, OMAGOD. They're a group out of Orlando, Florida. And I like going in there and it says like 100 some participants. I go, what the fuck is all this? And all this shit, all this razzle dazzle screenery on Zooms popping up. And like listening to this, and they're like, our mostly agnostic group of drunks. And I'm just like, okay, what, checking this out. And so I give my phone number, and they host a thing called Coffee Talk at the end of it. And I'm like, give my phone number. And then some dude just, I get on there and I start sharing. I'm fucking crying. I like start crying. I'm just like, oh my God. I go, what the fuck is wrong with me? I'm like crying. Like in front of all these people. And I'm like, fuck it, I'm already doing it. And this guy reaches out and like gives me his number. I start talking, and we talk a little bit that night, and I give him his number. And I think I was blowing his phone up quite a bit. And I was calling a few other people. And I started talking to, she was my first episode. Her name's Abby. She gave me my sponsor's number. Because I was trying to work with a sponsor, but he wasn't giving me enough work to do. I'm one of those people. I've got to continuously be moving.
Yep.
I'm always doing something. And I ended up talking to him. She gets me in touch with him because she could I just felt like no one could like deal with me or could say the right thing to me. And because it was just like I was having all these manic issues. I was like completely manic. And so anyways, I get introduced to my sponsor, and we talk about all this, and he goes, all you gotta do is just be open-minded and willing. And we'll have 37 years of sobriety June 6th. And I'm like, well, I can do that. I can listen. And he goes, you ain't gotta you ain't even gotta think about the word God or higher power or spiritual. What's faith? It's something held between two people. What's sobriety? It's a state of mind, and just all this stuff. And I'm just like, man, this guy's a guru. He starts getting me over, man, and I'm like, okay, let's do this. And that's where it really started taking off. But I was still doing a lot of shit for myself, and basically, it sums down to you need to put your sobriety first and quit talking about all this other bullshit.
Right on, man. Well, I mean, just that alone, what you just shared is very powerful stuff, and I think I can relate to a lot of it. Very powerful stuff, and we kind of walked the same path. I entered into the AA program as an atheist, and borderline sometimes militant. Like I would just get straight up pissed off when I heard the word God, or people had to tell me, you have to believe in God, my God, or this will not work. It just really bothered me. And I focused, but the problem was, and what I learned later on is I was focusing on the wrong thing. You know, and what helped me kind of was actually reading the big book. And, Bill W., he obviously was a believer, but he really focused on it doesn't have to be that. And so what I came up with the acronym GOD. Some people say group of drunks, and they have a couple acronyms in AA. The one that I came up with, and I'm not saying I created it, but it came to mind, was good observable decisions. So every time I heard God, it's like I have to just do things that that are good and people can see. And that was the only way that I was going to change their perception of me, was observation of a different person. Because like you talked about, and I made some notes here, your wife had said, well, you're going to drink again. I don't believe that you're not going to drink again. Well, evidence would suggest, because of our history, that's exactly what we're going to do, right? So we have to do things that people can observe that to make a change. So I totally understand. So you're still in the secular part of AA? Is that what you're doing these days still?
I do all kinds of shit. I'm at the point now to where I can go into any meeting.
Yeah,
I've been doing my own meeting on Wednesday nights. It's an online meeting called Many Passes Sobriety. That's another thing I forgot about this. I did leave out. It was a big part of my recovery. Was finding a many paths to sobriety.
sure.
AA. I forgot to credit a lot of him, but I call it AA is AA to me now. You can label it secular.
Hmm.
You can label it traditional. I just go to AA,
Yeah,
and because what AA to me is, and this is from working with my sponsor, and this is how it worked when they were originally founding AA, was basically the power of two. One alcoholic working with another alcoholic and making connection and sharing experiences.
yep,
And that's how they were recovering. It wasn't 12 steps and
yeah,
all that, it was just, and that's what led up to what I do now. I just make connections with other alcoholics and addicts and
yeah,
um, people with dual diagnosis. I'll talk to anyone if it helps them. So, but it's most, yeah, I go to a lot of ones that are tagged secular AA, but I'll go to regular ones now.
yeah.
It doesn't phase me. I just call it all AA.
No,
It's all AA. I don't
yep,
know why we have to now we've got all these tags everywhere for this stuff, and
yeah,
I think, you know, I think the big book's great now. At first, I'm just like, man, this is a lot of God talk and spiritual talk. My spiritual awakening was changing my behaviors. That was
sure.
my spiritual awakening, my psychic change per se. And yeah, it's my behaviors have changed. Trust me.
Yeah, and I think the labels help to an extent, because that's what got my foot in the door in some of these Zoom meetings. Like when I could go in and experience AA through a different lens, because the the preaching type didn't work for me. But I agree. I went through the same phase. That's how I came in, and now I love every single type of AA meeting, and it does not matter what people say, because I understand that that's their recovery, and that does not affect me at all. But I think to get your foot in the door and to begin to listen, I had to find something to buy into. Maybe that's the wrong word to use, but I totally understand what you're saying. I'd never have a bad time in an AA meeting, even if somebody comes in and they're a total douche. I can put that aside, take what I need and leave the rest, is a famous saying from AA. And I'm able to do that pretty easily. Um, so, um, you talked about, and again, man, really, I really appreciate you sharing. It was really powerful stuff. You'd said something about, the thought of losing your wife and your family. That was devastating. And you kind of alluded to it, and I can completely relate. I quit when I was making the attempts to quit drinking. I still wasn't there anyway, because I was still practicing the behaviors of an alcoholic. I even had a counselor who quit drinking, and 9 years later, 9 years into sobriety, or not drinking, not sobriety, his wife left him. And he's like, "What the fuck? I quit drinking. What more do you want?" Well, he's like, "I was still an asshole. So I didn't change the problem. The big book says that it's just a symptom of other things." So I think that's really related. So let's see, people don't forget what you did. We talked about that. I can relate a lot to the Hail Mary promises, just to save a relationship, before my ex-fiance, finally gave me the boot, because that was the right thing to do. These Hail Mary, I'll go to this many meetings, I will, buy a breathalyzer, I'll do all these things. And it was just manipulation, because I was saying sorry without change. And that in itself is manipulation.
Yeah, and I wasn't understand. Well, I kind of knew. Because someone asked me the other day, did I know I was manipulating? Yes and no.
Sure.
It's and just thinking about it is just like, how long have I been doing this with other people?
Right.
And it just all piled down, and it's like, at first it's just like, man, I'm a really shitty fucking person. And it's no, I did a lot of shitty fucking things because
Right.
I'm gonna be a better person, and because I'm gonna end up doing this. And it was just, this is why this is so much bigger for me now. This is why I'm doing this. This is why I came on here. It was do AA, get what I need out of it, and um fix my relationship with my wife and my kids, and good. Then I ain't got to do it anymore. No, that's not the case. Now I do AA and everything on the side. Shameless plug: podcast, website, TikTok, Twitter, and there's a lot of shit to keep up with. So sometimes I'm not on there daily,
Yeah.
but I am in touch with other alcoholics or addicts on a daily basis too, though. So
That connection, through the social media, and doing the podcast, and having people willing like yourself to come on and have this conversation is what's keeping me sober. That connection, the connection is opposite of addiction, right? That's something I say all the time on the podcast. I heard that, and it makes a lot of sense. Staying connected, and I too, I get overwhelmed. The Twitter feed starts to blow up, and I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, sometimes you got to put the phone down and get back into reality for a minute. But um, you know, listening to podcasts like yours, and having people on here has been really instrumental in my recovery and keeping me going. I mean, um, I haven't hit that awesome 1 year mark yet, but I'm damn close, and it's I've never thought it would be possible until these last few months. Like, holy shit, the confidence grows every day. I can do this. I can do life without drinking, and I can do it without being a manipulative asshole. And there's hope for me every single day, and that's all I've ever really wanted. And once you get to that point, and it's not the same for everybody, it's really a great feeling.
yeah, it is. And what I noticed, because I just, because once because you and me, we share a mutual acquaintance with our recovery, and he's been a guest on my show, guest on your show, and that I started checking you out before I said, hey, I'll come on your show, man. And it's just like, that's the amazing part. There's no time limit on how fast we can start helping other people. And I was just like, I started listening to some of the episodes, and I was bouncing around. I was like, man, you could see it's kind of like yours. I'm watching your growth going through this, and the things you share on there, and your experiences with your grandmother. You know, it's like talking about your bad days, and but like then I fast forward to like these past few episodes you've had out, and it's like you can hear like I don't know why I say light, but like there's like a light in your voice, like happiness or joyfulness. I don't know how to explain this stuff. I'm not. I'm just common folk, man. I just say whatever comes out of my mouth and hope someone else can relate to it.
Well, that's
It's
the best way to do it, man. Because that's the authentic thing.
yeah, but it's just like I hear it, and it's just like, man, he's yeah. Then I just heard, 8 months, 8 months. That's amazing.
Mhm.
That's amazing. 24 hours is amazing. You know
It is.
24 hours is the world record for sobriety, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Can't beat that.
And that's what I get, and now I understand when people are like, I'm a newcomer, and well, doesn't matter. Welcome, because you're helping the people that's been around for a while.
Yeah.
People at 8 months are helping the people first coming in, and keeping the people that are longer times, reminding them back to that. It took me a minute to realize that, and it's just like this is why it works this way. It's all little reminders. Well, that's how I view it, at least. That's why.
100%, man. 100%.
Yeah.
That my biggest fear is to get into this thing, get to, you're coming up on what, 3 years? Um, and so, or 2 years in November, getting years into this thing, it terrifies me that I'm going to forget. But if I continue to go to meetings and stay connected with people that are going through it, that's why I don't put a time limit on guests on the podcast. If you've thrown a week together or a few days together and you want to come on and just talk about where you're at and what you're thinking, that's one hell of a reminder to me, a refresher to me, and it's good for people to hear and remember what it was like to be at that short period, and the fear and the uncertainty that comes with it. I mean, I will take that dose of medicine every single day if I can, because I need it, dude. I don't 20 years, 20 years of drunken stupidity is not erased in 8 months. It's not erased in, it might not be erased in 20 fucking more years. So and I don't want to go back to that. I would rather be, I would rather face this crap and feel like shit for a few days in a row than to ever go back and pick up that bottle and do the things, the puking, you know, the look on those faces of the people that I care about, like, oh no, you know what I mean? So
Well, I don't think we erase it, um,
no,
because I had a conversation not too long ago about this, and it was just like, for me to say I regret I've done something, or I want to change something, I'd be afraid that would change. I refer to it as the butterfly effect,
yeah,
and it would change to where I'm at today. And
no,
I don't want to change where I'm at today at all, because I'm where I'm supposed to be today. Yeah, that's where I'm supposed to be here with you today, Scott. You
amen,
know,
Raymond, amen. Yeah,
and
it's sorry, the big book says you don't regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. And this book written in the 30s, dude, it's still true. Those first 164 pages, there's a lot to be learned and experienced through reading those. I can't regret it because what fucking good does that do? Number one, I mean, it doesn't even make sense. You know, there's no going back. So I have to practice acceptance that what happened happened. And yeah, I mean, I never thought in a million years sitting in treatment, less than a year ago that I'd have a podcast and I'd be talking to Raymond from Ohio, that I'd be talking to Michelle from the UK. You know what I mean? So would I trade in these experiences talking with you and other people who are, coming on and then being vulnerable and recovering out loud to help people? No, I don't think I would. I mean, do I the time that I haven't seen my kids in person, does that hurt? Yeah, but you know what? I'm going to be a better father and a better human from these experiences if I continue to grow at the pace that I'm growing. And just to be able to experience it, dude. I know it's silly, but I watched your TikTok where you were dancing like 4 times in a row because that's what I want. I mean, watching the just a big dude with a sweet beard jamming, enjoying fucking sobriety. That's what I want, and I have it, but I want to continue to embrace that stuff. So
Yeah, because if we don't celebrate it, I mean, that's why I believe in like recovering out loud and all that. People that want to remain with the what is the 11th tradition, and then that's which one it is. I'm not like Mr. Well versed. I have 100 years in the program and know every line in the book and
yeah,
anonymity and all that stuff. I'm just like I'm proud of the changes I've done, and if it inspires someone, it's going to inspire someone, and it gets me because you know you get people that talk trash, and that's my new thing. I've been working on myself, and it's just like why am I letting that affect the way I feel?
right,
Because they fuck them, and it wasn't. I'm not getting it on TikTok. I do. I put stuff on YouTube, and I'm just like, okay, one, it's either a troll, or two, and that's why I'm like, if you're a person in recovery and you're judging someone else's recovery, you probably need to reevaluate your recovery.
yep,
And that's just from my personal experience from getting that mindset. Oh, I don't like what this person said, but I shouldn't bash on them because if they're staying sober, that should be I could take something away from it.
sure,
I got to see from their viewpoint. That's why I started doing this too, and I try to stick up for people. And sometimes you'll see on social media, get out and go to an in-person meeting or do this, do that, and I go, what about these people that can't drive?
yeah,
Or they're more than an hour away from somewhere that goes to a meeting in a real rural area or something like that.
yep,
Um, I mean, I keep bringing this up too. I mean, there's a point where it shows, like in the big book, it like predicts the future of like how, like I can't even remember, kind of like before internet and all that stuff, like how it grows and
yeah,
stuff like that. But it's just I try to advocate for the person that's the person where the other person's like, well, you need to do this. Well, they need to do what they need to do to stay sober
yeah.
and figure it out.
Yep, I'm with you, man. And I try not to get irritated by that stuff too, but it's the people that come on and say this is how I did it. This is the only way to do it. This is the only way that works. It doesn't work unless you work it. You have to get a sponsor. You have to work the 12 steps. Well, bullshit. Many of people are recovered that haven't set foot in an AA meeting. That's not me, but you know, if your way worked 100%, if just like the people that come in and say, get a sponsor and work the steps, if that was the one way to do it, it would have 100% success rate. And that is not the case. So it is not the only way to do it. And you're absolutely right when you say, you know, if you're staying sober and you're becoming a better person and working on yourself, however you are doing that is the best way to do it, because that's what works for you.
Right. And I just talked to someone that has 14 years of recovery in, and I don't think it's ever worked a step. Took some principles from smart recovery and
Yeah.
just kept pushing, and is advocating for people, for homeless women and
Awesome.
stuff like that. And yeah, that's the type of people I look for too, is people
Yeah.
that's maintaining without using steps. Because I'd like to get, I just like to hear it. Me, it's my behaviors. I need those damn steps.
Yeah.
Am I holding resentment? Am I scared of something?
Yep.
What do I need to prove upon? I mean that's just focusing on that. Um, focus on those things right there. Tomorrow, I'm celebrating my 10-year wedding anniversary with my wife.
That's fucking awesome, dude.
Because I think about the biggest thing I do right now, I try to do, and it's always been the hardest thing for me to do, is think before shit comes out of my mouth. Or, you know, it's, yeah, what is it? Pause.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's been the hardest thing. And that's like, you know, one of the things we look back and like, man, if I wouldn't have said this, I wouldn't have done this.
Yeah, dude.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
have gotten into this fucking mess.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
But
I will tell you that it's so awesome that you mentioned that you'll be doing the 10 years tomorrow, because that is something that wouldn't have happened had you not made the changes that you did. I think that's super powerful. You know, last night I was doing a panel podcast. We didn't start till 10 o'clock my time. And we talked for about an hour, but right in the middle of it, one of the guys on there, his kid came in and gave him a kiss, you know, like telling him good night or whatever. And I could have cried right then. You know, that's my dream. You know, that's something that I want to have happen again, to my kids to be in that situation. And to hear you talk about, you know, celebrating 10 years, congratulations, by the way. And to hear these success things, you know, recovery is possible, change is possible, man. And it is so, like, it just makes my heart happy to hear these types of things. It really does. And I hope people that listen can hear that and have that hope. You know, you talk about pausing before you react. Yesterday I was at the funeral and we were at the graveyard, and I had a brother that passed at birth, and his where his grave marker was, it's always been there as long as I know it. It was one particular spot. Well, my stepmom was talking to the guy that runs the graveyard, and he's like, yeah, well, I'm not really sure exactly where he's even located. And I heard that and my blood pressure went up, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? You know, this little tiny baby passed and you don't even know where he's actually at, you know. And I wanted to go over there and chew the guy's ass, but I did. I practiced some patience. And within 2 minutes, I heard that this guy hasn't been in charge of this graveyard very long. And the people prior to him, the record keeping was crap. So I almost went up to this dude and chewed him a new one. And it wasn't him. Just to give an example of practicing patience or whatever, you know, the old me, certainly the drunk me, would have been a complete and total dick to this guy that didn't deserve it. But I'm really glad that you shared what you shared, because that brings hope.
I try. I try to bring hope.
Well, I think you do a great job, man.
My issue is I think I sound stupid, but I'm just gonna put it out there and just keep doing it. I mean,
Do it.
Um,
That's
it's,
exactly what you need to do, man, because you don't sound stupid. You know, there's joy in your voice. You talked about seeing a light in me, and I thank you for that. But there's something in your voice, and then you get that smile on your face. It's contagious. Um, I mean, you're doing really great things, man. And I'll let you plug everything here at the end. You know, I do these podcasts and I'm like, man, that sucked. And I get off, you know, I'm like, that was I did terrible. You know, I let the guests down. I didn't, you know, say this or I should have said that. And then, you know, I got people that'll come and say, dude, that was great. So we're our own worst enemy, man. Whether they're just saying it to be nice is out of my control. I'm just going to keep doing this no matter what until I can't do it anymore because I do believe that it helps from time to time. I have the emails, the DMs to prove it. And when those things come through, it means the world to me. And just to know that this little thing that we're doing, I mean, this isn't like work or this isn't anything I don't want to do. I sit here, I start the room up a half an hour before people are coming on a lot of times, and I'm ready to go. I want to talk. I just want to have a conversation. And if that can help somebody, just me having a conversation with somebody, fuck, that's easy.
I like how you messaged me and you're like, room's open. I'm like, sweet, I'll hop on now. Because it's, you ever like set something up and you're just sitting there and it's like the time you go to interview someone and it's just like, where they at? Are they bailing on me? Are they not coming?
Only
No.
every time. Only every single time.
It's just like a little brief moment of time, and I'm just like, but that reminds me of just like those instances of when I drink and it'd be like I would drive by that gas station and time out to get that first round of tall boys for the drive home, or then the next spot there. Then it was just like that first 30 days it was like repeating that. I changed like my route driving back home for the first 30 days just
Yeah.
break a habit. So there was no that was my mindset of how I would quit. That way, oh well, if I don't drive by there, it ain't gonna trigger. But you know, I'm damn well driving by all these other spots that do it, but I've never done it there. So it's like,
Right.
I mean, that's the kind of thinking I was doing in the beginning, and it's just like, okay, I'm gonna take a whole different way home. I was already driving like an hour to work at the time, and I was extending my drive home just to avoid the places I'd stop to. Um, I don't even know what the fuck I was doing. I don't even.
it's
Yeah.
it's it's obviously helped, you know. I would go through that kind of effort to not be to make myself feel better so I don't look like an alcoholic. So I'd go to like 3 or 4 different places and rotate it all week long, you know, and thinking like they don't know what's going on. You know, I'd dress up in golf clothes and go in and talk about hitting the links, you know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, I'm hitting the links with 2/5 and 2 pints and 2 half pints, or I'm hitting the links with a half gallon and you know, 3 pints and a half pint to get going. These people, they didn't, number one, they don't give a shit. They're gonna sell you the stuff because that's what they do. And two, you're not fooling anybody, dude. I probably walked in there smelling like a brewery every freaking day that I walked in there. And no matter, you know, I went through those lengths just to get a drink and to not look like an alcoholic. I think driving a little extra to avoid it, I think is completely reasonable.
Yeah. Yeah. So you what is that called? I'm like thinking of the guy that like robs the bank, then changes to the disguise, and you can tell it's the same guy.
Yeah. Because you're not fooling anybody. Yeah. Yeah. Same voice. Yeah. It's just it's madness. It's insanity. That's exactly what it's called in the big book. That's exactly what it is. So all right. Well, I get to join you on Sunday. on your podcast. So go ahead and share where you can find it, what's it called, and where we can find all your other content.
Well, I'm just wondering why you haven't subscribed to my OnlyFans, because I subscribed to yours, and the deal was we would sign up for each other's OnlyFans, and I'm just wondering why you haven't done that yet.
Well, I'm a grower, not a shower, so I don't let everybody in on that one.
Well, that's I didn't realize that was your type of content, but okay. I just do balloon popping videos.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
man, you have a dirty mind. Well, I don't know if anyone caught it, but Many Pass to Sobriety is the podcast, and the reason it's Many Pass, so that was one of the first meetings that it was like a room to five. There was like 5 to 7 people in that room, and I was able to actually share for a longer amount of time. So that's where the whole Many Pass came from. Most of the handles for all the socials are MP, the number 2 sobriety. Podcast is everywhere. The website's mp2sobriety.org, which I'm going to link your show to. I got to do some updates on that. So, because I'm all about getting all this information out of there everywhere. Because what we do, man, is I think it's very powerful. And it's kind of like, have you ever heard do something nice for someone else and not tell anyone?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're kind of doing that, and we don't know who we're helping.
Right.
It's kind of like we're throwing all this awesomeness out there. I was going to say like change, and some people are going around picking it up. Where their lucky penny in their pocket or something. But yeah, I'm Raymond, host of Many Pass to Sobriety, and yeah, that's did you ask me something else?
Nope. No, just to throw out your social media handle and where you can find the podcast and your website. I think you covered it all, man.
Yeah.
Whoops.
So, man, you ain't gonna keep me on for 3 hours. You said we're doing 3 hours a day.
Well, I meant divided between yours and mine.
Oh. I'm just messing, man.
No, I mean, it's been at least an hour, so I mean, it does not feel like that. We're at 9:50 and we started before 9 o'clock, so these things tend to go pretty fast.
Yeah, I know. This is awesome, man. I appreciate you doing this. We need to collaborate some things.
Sure.
I think we should do that. Oh,
I agree.
I would like to do that. I don't say I think we should. I'd like to collaborate with you.
Yeah.
And if possible, we do some we need to make some, if you'd like to, we can make some trailers and plug them on each other's podcasts as well.
That would be awesome.
So, man,
yeah, you got the tech to do that, and yeah, I mean, throw me something of yours and I'll play it every single time, dude.
Yeah, I'll get you on mine too, and I'm like I said, I'll link you to the website and all that good stuff. So, you said you did a panel podcast.
Yeah, it was just last minute. It was just 3 of us last night. Kind of three nerds, guys that play a lot of video games and sobriety as part of our recovery, and we kind of just, it was kind of like a couple day setup thing. But I want to do more of that, and I think it would be awesome to have your take on it.
Is that going to be posted today or?
Yep, it just I didn't upload it until today. I had some things going on at home, but that link will be up today. I'll let that sit for a minute. I'll convert everything from our talk, and I'll probably post that tomorrow morning. That way, they're not fighting each other for listens. And because I think this is a really good one, man, and I really want people to have a chance to absorb this. So
Well, I'm glad you think this is a good one. I feel fucking stupid every time I talk.
Dude, me too. Me too. But you know what? I'm slowly growing. I actually gave myself a compliment yesterday to somebody in my family. I'm like, yeah, I just did a podcast, and I think did a good job of keeping the flow. And they're like, did you hear what you just said? I was like, yeah. Let's not dwell on it. I gave myself a goddamn compliment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I get it, but no, dude, it was great. I really do. And I'm not just saying that to butter your nuts just because you're here on the other end of this thing. I say it because it's genuinely how I feel. So, all right. Well, Raymond, thank you so much for joining me, my friend. And I look forward to Sunday to be on the other end of this thing and then and to promote your stuff.
I'm looking forward to it. So.
All right, my friend.
Hey,
well,
you have a good day, man. Just reach out to me anytime. If you're free tonight, that link I sent you for Sunday's meeting, I'm having a meeting at 7 p.m. if you want to join. So
yeah, I got nothing. Yeah, make sure I'll make sure I got that link or send it to me, and I'll hop in. Yeah.
Oh, so you already lost my link.
I don't know, dude. I got so many links. I can barely keep track of my shit that I have in front of me, my keys, my wallet. So
it's good. If you make it, bring a topic. I'll let you lead tonight. So
yeah. All right.
Kind of see what it's about. I think you'd like it. So
all right.
I think we see eye to eye on a lot of things.
I agree. And that's what makes the conversation so easy.
Yeah, I know. All right, brother. Reach out.
All right, man. Take care.
You too.